Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 102 of Thompsin and Other Disappointments. Super psyched to be coming at you, getting all up in your grill from the sunny climes of Phuket, Thailand. Some of you may be aware, I don't know if you follow me on Twitter or TikTok, some of you may be aware that I've flown out here for it has to be said, financially devastating holiday. I can confirm that it is crippling me, but that it is also beautiful. We are having a great time out here, and I'm very much loved up to the fucking eyeballs with my family. Really loving our first trip away for literally years. So yeah, having some really good times. Getting to the beach, I'm putting my son in armbands and building sandcastles, and yes, if I'm honest, shitting myself at the size of the bugs out here, which I know it sounds like I'm being a bit, dramatic, but it is a problem for me. It's a real fucking showstopper. You could invite me to a dinner party with your three most promiscuous nieces and free cocaine all night. And then if you were like, oh yeah, there's a moth in the utility room, but don't let it bother you. I'll be like, no, I'm going, bye. I'm such a pussy with bugs. Like moths, butterflies, gigantic fuck off housefly looking things is what they have out here. Mutants, they're mutant insects and shit. I don't know if there's something about sunlight helping your flowers and plants to grow bigger, and then a tropical climate helping these insects to evolve bigger. I don't know if there's any science in that, but that's what's kind of going around in my baseless unscientific brain right now. Like a bit more sun, a bit more radiation, a few centuries, and boom, massive inflated fruits and insects and frogs and shit. The sunny climate here appears to have encouraged growth in everything except the people, which is fine. Like I'm not ball sacking Thai people for their height. I'm 5'8", so it's just nice to feel normal in that regard. I digress. Honestly, for a guy with a phobia of butterflies, this place was a dumb fucking idea for a holiday. It just was. But as I say, it is lush, and I'm willing to suffer the indignity of looking like a pathetic coward crying about butterflies for the benefit of the surroundings and and the people and the joy of my kids, and to keep my woman happy, or or close to happy, net happy is the goal with my girlfriend. Are you net happy? Yeah, okay, good. Give her one good holiday a year. Keep her expectations broadly appeased. And no, it hasn't helped that I'm habitually referring to this as a placation in that regard. But fuck it. Anyway, look, I know at least 100 of you motherfuckers listening are going to be thinking, a phobia about butterflies is ridiculous. But honestly, out here, butterflies are bats, basically. They're fucking bats. Bats in daylight. Big black wings, flapping about, unpredictable. It's just... And yes, I am scared of the British ones too, so I guess the whole bat thing is useless in contextualising anything. Butterflies, period. Gross. Just get the fuck out of here. And moths. If I could put a great big beacon in the middle of a field and attract all the moths in Britain to it, and then spark the napalm, I would do it, and fuck the impact to the food chain. I don't care. And there'd be people that would be like, if you did that, then the, Imicus spathicus is the moth's natural predator, and it would mean it would starve and die out, which would mean that there's nothing to feed the hedgehogicus mole of Devon and Cornwall. I'd be like, fuck them, I don't care. It is the one aspect of my life I'm happy to be some sociopathic, selfish, Tory-like asshole who takes action governed purely by self-interest. Just that one thing. And I think that's forgivable, But I fully appreciate there'll be people that are like, don't kill the moths. Don't kill the moths and the butterflies. Christ aid. Just because you're scared of them. Yes, bang on. Just because I'm scared of them. That's it. Clarified. Now stand back while I catch this rare as fuck Amazonian greenwing with its beauty and grace and its cancer-cured DNA and blowtorch it. Lest it frighten me for 6 fucking seconds. Truly, I don't even care if this comes off as irrational. And you're all like, what the fuck is he on about? This is the weirdest rant yet. I thought this was a guest show. Like, who the fuck is his guest? Like, his other split personality? He's seriously scared of butterflies. Yes, seriously. Butterflies and moths. And this is a guest show. We'll get onto that in a minute. Oh, and pigeons, by the way. Scared of pigeons too. They're too erratic. They're too flappy. Does this make sense to anyone? Can anyone else empathise with this? Too flappy, erratic, unpredictable. And I know it sounds stupid because, butterflies are beautiful, as I say, and they're graceful and they're lovely. I get it. But I can't help the hollowing fear that I get when I see them. It's just there. It's just pre-installed. It's like telling your mate, like, oi, don't like tits. Your mate would be like, like what? Just don't like them. You're not allowed to like tits anymore. You'd be like, I can't change. Like, the feeling is just there, pre-configured, activated. Like, some things are just built in. And not to get too, gender stereotype about it, but, a lot of men are going to like tits. A lot of women are just going to love Love Island or, holidays or a good chat with other women. Slightly fewer people are going to just hate butterflies and moths. It's there. And there's fuck all that we can do about it. So how about some recognition as a minority is what I'm looking for. What about my rights? He said, outside the coffee shop he was desperate to walk into, but couldn't because a giant fuck-off bat thing was on the wall next to the slide door, and he had tried throwing leaves at it to spook it away, but a stranger told him to stop harassing the beautiful butterfly, and it's an endangered species and he has to respect its rights. What about my rights? He shouted again, throwing leaves at it like some insane person. Going way off on a rant here. Let's colour this in a bit for you, because it's important that you understand where this all comes from, right? Let's join the dots on this, and then we're going to get to today's guest. You'll be relieved to hear. So for me, right, this butterflies thing, obviously it's at the fore of my mind right now because I'm in a foreign country, and it's not dissimilar to the situation of from whence it started, if that's the right phrase, right? So when I was 4, on a holiday to South Africa with my old dear, my mum, and my brother, we were overseas. Right, and it was a sort of like, this is where it's different to this holiday, right? It was a sort of marriage breakup getaway, if you will. It's a single mum with 2 kids running away. So like a baby moon. You familiar with baby moons, right? It's where like the couple, the woman's pregnant and the man and her, they go away. It's, pre-baby. It's a baby moon. You go away. Honeymoon, but like you get the idea. And this is like a baby moon, except instead of flying off somewhere before the baby's born together, actually what you do is you wait until both kids are born, the marriage has failed, and then you take them both on a plane solo and run away to another fucking country to stay at your mum's for a bit. LOL. Anyway, like on this little not quite family getaway, I'm wandering around with my little sandals and bucket and spade because I was 4 and utterly adorable, and I wandered up to this bush with my bucket and spade, and I hit it, right? I think I must have seen a butterfly fly into it, and so then I hit the bush to, spook it or to get it to come out again or something. I'm not really sure. But I hit it with my bucket and spade or something, and then a load of butterflies flew out and into my face, and that's it. That is the root of all of it, in case you were wondering. In fact, whether you were wondering or not is insignificant. I needed to tell you so you knew there was some vaguely plausible reason I would have a phobia of something so objectively not scary. It's like being scared of like water or something, It is objectively not scary. So it's important that you understand this. But it always makes me laugh, like thinking of like that mini story, because it's such a perfect example of a ridiculous beginning of a psychological issue. Of a serious phobia. And when I studied, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but I studied psychoanalysis in my late 20s, did like an evening class. And I had to sit down as part of that training. I had to sit down with a full-on psychotherapist and talk about this stuff. And I explained how it started. Like, then I hit the bush And the butterflies came out, and yeah, boom, a lifetime of a laughable phobia fucking nailed down, you know. And the psychotherapist was like, yeah, but, you know, you said your parents split when you were 4, and your mother flew you out to your grandmother's. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, again, so you were in a strange country, you know, unfamiliar, and your father was nowhere to be seen, and you probably felt quite vulnerable and abandoned even. And so then in this moment of fluster, of unpredictable fright, perhaps all of that compacted into this mascot of fear, which, like, sounds quite profound, right? Like I'm supposed to go, oh, I get it. The butterfly is my parental abandonment. Right, I get it. You know, but I'm keeping it cool. I'm like, right, yeah, that makes sense. And the therapist is a bit bummed out now, you know, like, it's a bit like if you have a killer joke that you just wrote and then you test it at an open mic comedy night and then it bombs. You know, like, you were certain it was amazing. This is my best work. And then it dies. You just tank through your ass. You're like, oh, I thought that was quite good, actually, but fine. So the therapist is a bit bummed. And she's like, yeah, and so that's, you know, that's where it comes from. I'm like, okay. And then there's this awkward silence. Because she's kind of nailed it, but I'm like, so how do we fix it? And it's that moment right there. She's like, oh, there's no way to fix it. You know, you're fucked in the head. You're scared of something completely harmless and laughable. You trembling fucking idiot. But it's like, it's good to know how it started, isn't it? You know, pointlessly get to the root of the problem that in no way helps to alleviate the actual fucking problem. That's, to me, that is therapy in a, you know, a perfect example, getting to the root of the problem. You know, like, it's like, imagine a doctor walking into the, like, back into his surgery meeting room. You know, Mr. Brown, results and scans are back. Your erectile dysfunction is being caused by an aggravated tract in your testicular pap vein. And, you know, Mr. Brown's like, oh, cool. So you can, like, treat it or operate or, oh, God, no, you know, you'll never fuck again. But here's the x-ray. You know, some people like to put them on Facebook. And would you like a lollipop? Like, that's what the MO feels like with therapy, to me. Is just get to where it stems from, right? Not necessarily resolve it. And because, like, just because you know where something stems from doesn't stop it. That's the key thing here. Like, I know how Memento started, but it doesn't make the rest of it sensical, does it? I always felt like this was the gaping fucking plot hole in therapy, to me. Or did I miss it? Like, did I miss something in those evening classes that explains how getting to the root of something or understanding where it all started it will then suddenly change your behavior, or the primal fears that you feel in your tummy when you see the thing that makes you fucking scared? It's like, you know, imagine a woman going into a therapist's office. So you're saying I go for men with severe emotional problems and addictions because my father traumatized me by normalizing bad behavior when I was a kid? Yes, Amy. Yeah, that's right. All right, well, what do I do now? I don't know. Don't like that type of person. Don't be scared of butterflies. Don't like tits. It's like logical versus illogical, isn't it? If you really boil it down, you shouldn't be scared of all Asian men just because you saw an Asian guy beat the shit out of your mother when you were 6. Well, I know that I shouldn't, but it's there. It's illogical. It's the biological, not logical, if that saying works here, you know? Anyway, look, I've gone way off on a tangent here, which I promised myself I would not do in the intro to a guest show. So, look, let's just compact this all up now. So, bugs, butterflies, phobias, tits. Sounds like a fucking Chili Peppers album, doesn't it? But yeah, right, Thailand, hot weather. You get the idea. So, while I'm here in Phuket, I thought it might be fun to see if I could chat to a few people in various industries. I am recording this out in a car park, if you can hear the sounds of Thailand. But yeah, I thought it might be fun to chat to a few people, different industries. And I always enjoy talking to people from the worlds of, like, tech or academia and investment. And while enjoying an IPA in the bar here, I overheard that the owner of the place, this whole complex that we're staying in, was Belgian, right? Which kind of piqued my interest because, right, so the girlfriend works in property, right? And I thought or we thought, that to buy a place in Thailand in some like far off retirement dream, I thought you had to be Thai yourself. Like, they don't sell property to foreigners, which is kind of the route that the UK should go. You know, it's a big bugbear for a lot of us in the UK that they build all of these new builds or like, you know, 2-bed houses for people, like starter homes, and then they get immediately purchased by like Chinese or Russian businessmen, or and so then nobody can get on the ladder. Like, the few houses that they do fucking build in the UK every year, foreign investors just buy them up and rent them out. And I thought that they had put controls in Thailand to avoid that sort of problem from getting a grip. So you can't buy property over here if you're foreign. But this guy's built a whole apartment complex and hotel and shit. So I was like, why not dig into this a bit, you know? How did he do it? What's his story? So I want to be really clear here, right? A lot of the political output that I put out lends itself to like progressive causes. You know, I talk a bit about institutional racism, tackling corruption, overhauling parliament, so maybe it's fit to operate in the 21st century, in the housing crisis and so on. But also, my girlfriend does work in property investment. And I do think, as I've said in today's show, I would love to live in a utopian world where there's like deluges of cash coming in to build out the social housing sector and temper the rental market, as well as house building the right number of houses so the supply and demand issue doesn't get any worse and shit doesn't get any more unaffordable, right? I would love that, but no one's talking about those issues. There's a conservative leadership race on at the moment, and not once have I seen the housing crisis mentioned. So I don't know, I think in a country like the UK, where your options are kind of limited, if you're forced to, quote unquote, play the game, as it were, then maybe, I don't know, maybe property investment, either domestic in Britain or internationally, if that's more affordable to you, maybe that could be a route out of financial insecurity. And maybe buying a 1-bed flat in a foreign country and using it as an Airbnb and generating an income that you later use as a house deposit nearer to home, like maybe that's worth some thought. I don't know. I'm not saying it's an avenue open to everyone, and I'm not seeking to minimize or trivialize the challenges that people are facing. But if you are in a position to explore the routes that we discuss in this today, which I'm going to be fully transparent here, I am not, lol, or at least not yet, then I hope that, I don't know, it's as useful a conversation to you as it was a stimulating one for me to partake in. So please welcome tonight's guest, after this incredibly long intro, lover of all things Thailand, former IT guy turned property investor, Mr. Joe Don't. Yeah. So how did you start? How did you arrive in Thailand? Because you're from Belgium originally.
Yes.
How does someone like yourself land here and go, yeah, this is the place I want to invest in?
Probably like the most people, my first time I arrived here was in '87 as a tourist.
Okay.
I came in what we call it, in Europe, the wrong season, means in the rain season was Songkran,
yeah.
April '87, and it was too hot, too wet for me, so I didn't come back for 6 years. After 6 years coming back, I fall in love with the country because they have everything what we expect to see if you are good Catholics. I'm a Catholic. When we are dead, means paradise on earth before you are dead.
Sure.
Healthcare, food-wise, nice people, you have everything. So coming back second time in '93, coming more and more regularly, at a certain moment I decided to buy a holiday villa here.
Right.
I try to remember the year, I think it was 2005, something like this, without any more thinking of that. Then suddenly my my company gets sold in Belgium. It was not on the market, but everything is for sale for the right price. 2007, the best year to sell, by the way.
Sure. Do you mind if I ask, like,
please.
What was that industry that you were in before?
Completely different. I was in the mail merge, data printing, printer streets. Nothing to see with investments. With
like tech marketing.
Old school.
Cool. Right.
Old school tech marketing. Yes. So yes, please stop me if I go too fast. From there, 2005, having my villa here. 2007. Unemployed, nothing to do.
Yeah.
So where do you go? Where you have your villa?
Yeah.
On holiday, with some money, because and then I started to invest it as well as in Turkey, but the major money was put in Thailand because I strongly believe already in a world destination like Phuket, and Thailand is in Phuket especially is a world destination to invest here some buying property.
Yeah.
So I bought left and right some property, and it's all about location. As well in London here, location, the three major points in investment. So I bought here, I bought in Sweden, and it went out that the locations were really good. The more years it takes, the better the location becomes. So one of the locations was Diamond Resort, where we are actually now.
Yeah.
I bought it as a buffalo land.
Okay.
Only buffaloes, was 3 meters lower, was a big nothing here.
Yeah.
The only reason why I bought here was Laguna, which is a very important eye catcher, let's put it like this. So I bought here this land, not to build, not to do anything, and then flying backwards forwards to Belgium. Started first in Turkey with some small condos.
Yeah.
Looks quite easy, works good. Before our friend Erdogan, I see nothing bad about him. I call him my friend Erdogan.
Sure. Yeah.
But he makes your life a little bit miserable. So I left Turkey, moved to here, and then saw some opportunities here. And yeah, that's how it went. That's why I built this place. So back to your first question, more or less, why do I do crazy things like this? I think it starts with my family. I'm born as the oldest son out of 3 from deaf parents.
Right.
So
can't hear.
Can't hear, can't speak. So when you're the oldest one, you have to fight for your rights.
Yeah.
You have to fight for the rights of your parents.
Okay.
Because they cannot speak. Then you get more older than you are age-wise. You think you get more clever than you are.
Right.
And those things, because nobody guides you.
You acquire the responsibilities as well. You're the communicator, you're the listener, right?
I'm the buyer.
Yeah.
If my father wanted to buy a car, the dealer have to speak with me. And of course, if he sold me the fastest car as a young guy, that's the only thing I want to hear. And this is a real example, you know?
Yeah. But also, I suppose, if you're the eyes and the ears of the family, if you're then pushed in to negotiate the purchase of an automobile and you come away with a bad deal, then that's on your shoulders, right? So then you develop this skill for making a good deal, for responsibility, and okay.
One of my practical jokes from those days is, if people ask why I speak so many languages, I speak 5. It's because of my parents. Of course, it's not because of my parents. They are deaf. They don't speak. This is one of my practical jokes.
Yeah.
So that's why I have no borders.
Yeah.
Because deaf people have no borders.
Sure.
I'm born in Belgium, but I never have to look at the border so I was living left and right, doing business with Moscow in the old days before the wall went down. Lived in Guernsey.
Okay.
You know where Guernsey is? It's near to you guys. So I was a world traveler without the world was my playground, you know.
Yeah.
Hard working, honest working, being correct all my life, and that's what bring me here in this less footprint on earth. Believe me.
Do you mind if I just ask, in terms of like purchasing the land in Thailand, in the UK we have some challenges, some frustrations around foreign nationals, let's say, like I think predominantly Russian or Chinese will come to the UK with a lot of money. There'll be a new development in London and people in London are desperate to get on the housing ladder because rents can be like 3.5 times the outgoing of a mortgage, and there's a real frustration that then if let's say a Chinese person comes into the UK and buys like 10 of these flats, they're all snapped up straight away, and then there's not enough to go around for the natives, if you like. Are there similar frustrations in Thailand? Like if you build a complex like this, you've got, I mean, these are really beautiful apartments that we're sat in.
Thank you.
Is there a frustration that you're not servicing the needs of the locals, or?
Everybody can buy here, and everybody bought here as well, Thai people as other people.
Right.
So the rules are the same the rules are even a little bit easier for the Thai people than for the Farangs, but you always need money. It's always about money, but we get even a quotation from the bank, from the Thai banks, a AAA quotation, means it's more easy for Thai people to buy here. They can borrow much more money because of the AAA quality.
Yeah.
So it means the bank guarantee or quality.
Right.
So but before you can start building it, maybe it's a little bit going back on your question, we as foreigners are not welcome also here. No, the rules are very strict here.
Yeah.
They are not easy. It's not that you come with money here and you start something. First of all, you only can own 49% of the whole company. So 51% have to be Thai people.
Okay.
Still now. Of course, if you have a Thai wife like myself, then it's another thing, but you need a trustee in this country, and you need somebody who knows the rules in this country. We are in Asia. Asia is not Europe. It's not that easy.
Sure. Yeah.
But the buyers are, I would say, even more protected in this country for fraud and for scam people than in Europe.
Yeah.
So they are not against us as investors, but they protect the buyers very, very well.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. Okay. Okay. Next question, coming from a sort of a British property. I hesitate to call myself an investor because I'm not. But my girlfriend is. Yeah.
I have some condos.
You do me a deal. Yeah. I suppose from a Britain's perspective, and we don't live in London. We live about an hour outside. But property is still quite difficult to get hold of within like earning potential. So I'm on actually quite a comfortable salary in the UK, and I would find it difficult to get onto the ladder from this point onwards. There are sometimes vlogs and blogs and journalists who suggest that actually maybe think outside of your immediate location in terms of becoming an investor. So that in the UK, that would mean buying up north, where property is cheaper, and then renting it out. And I wondered, is there an opportunity to do something internationally? Like, could a Briton buy a condo in Thailand, or would they need a Thai wife or
No.
like?
No. They can buy 100% condos in Thailand.
Right.
100%.
Okay.
As long as, if you build a project like this, I can sell 49% in 100% freehold.
Right.
So if you are in that kind of basket, like this condo where we are sitting in now,
Yeah.
this is sold 100% freehold. Because I always manage to balance the freehold and the leasehold.
Right.
So if you buy, then this condo is 100% legal yours. And you
Yeah.
can make money here
Yeah.
to invest in London.
Yeah. See, this is the thing I think sometimes people don't understand about the London market, or even more broadly the global property market, is like I would love to live in a world where there is enough social housing to help people who are not able to get on the ladder, where they're not living in a sort of decrepit London crumbling tower block with patchy facilities and so on. I'd like to see that, but I also live in the real world where I don't think that sort of thing is going to be funded in the immediate future. So I'm all about finding opportunities for people who can get on the ladder and attain some level of financial security for themselves. So are we saying that, let's say somebody on a reasonable or average salary in London, so I guess that would be about £40,000 a year, I'm not sure what that is in baht off the top of my head, but they could, I guess they would need to be a cash buyer, right, to buy overseas? Or could they use a London mortgage?
Maximum 3 years. They can pay 60% now and 2020. So you need anyway cash. You have to pay it maximum 3 years because we are not a bank.
Sure. Okay. So they would need to be able to save a third of the figure each year and then keep chipping that in.
But on top, we give, in this case, in Diamond, and I speak only about my resort, we give a guarantee rent ROI of 5% every year of your invested money.
Right, okay.
And you still have the right to use your own condo for 1 month.
Right,
free.
I see. Okay, so you would effectively sell the condo to them, but then rent it out.
If they want it.
Yeah.
This one is sold for people who want to live here.
Yeah.
Everything is possible.
Yeah.
But it's not a time sharing.
Sure.
It's buying. It's yours.
Yeah.
But look at this one after COVID. This looks still like a diamond.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so let's flip it for a second. I'm really interested to hear this. So you've worked in Thai property investment for a few years. there must have been some sort of like interesting stories and like local scandals or anything like.
Let's maybe go back. Why Phuket?
Okay, yeah, sure.
I think this is because Phuket is, like I told you already very briefly, it's a world destination, and why?
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
First of all, international airport.
Right.
Very important. If you look at other places, for example, Samui.
So you can fly straight into it, straight out.
You can fly straight in.
Great.
They are building a new airstrip near to this one, because the people who have more vision than me, than us, if I may say, over the world are putting a lot of money in here. Big hotel chains are making new hotels here. So we still, Phuket always recover.
Yeah.
Tsunami, this, that, always Phuket always come back as the first. Now on top we have very much a big commitment from Bangkok, because for Thailand, Phuket is, they use the sandbox. They launch Phuket first before they start anything else in Thailand.
Right.
Phuket is new roads infrastructures, tunnels. They build tunnels. They're talking about building a train, go from north to south, all those things. So Phuket, why I'm talking about, because it is a world destination. If you look on the world map, we are connected to most of interesting places on the world as well.
Yeah.
So this is why we are in Phuket, and why I strongly believe in the future of Phuket.
Yeah, and I suppose that's an important thing. Like, so coming from an outsider's perspective, just jumping in taxis, driving around the island, the impression that I get is that it's a beautiful place. There's a lot of really exciting investment opportunities, loads of great hotels. The one challenge I could see would be around the infrastructure. Like obviously everywhere you drive, you see big like power cables everywhere. I'm wondering about, if I were working and living over here, I'd be worrying about like internet speed, because of what I do as my day job. But it sounds as though there's sufficient investment coming in, and that actually, rather than focusing on these things as a negative, it should be looked at as a kind of an opportunity, that the investment is coming in, that in the next sort of 5 years or so, you'll start to see a lot of that kind of overhauled, right?
They are doing this already in Phuket town, so the wires are disappearing already.
Great.
Under the ground.
Right.
It's of course a huge project, but they are doing it. The commitment is there to put everything under the ground. Power cuts, very, very, very rare here.
Yeah.
Yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, was not a power cut, but there was an announced upgrading quality of the electricity. Of course, then you can have some power cuts, but they were announced. We very rarely have power cuts here.
Yeah.
Internet speed, I don't know how is I presume your internet is good in this area. It depends, of course, of also the hotel owners or the condominium owners, the investment they make for the internet. But internet is one of the most important things those days. It's connecting with the world.
Yeah.
So we are with it. We are with it. No problem at all.
Is there any aspiration to sort of like greenify the island? Because you get a lot of sun, right? So is there a plan to kind of have fields of like panels to...
More and more and more. Even a project where I'm involved in Sweden, it's all solar, all green.
Yeah.
So the new future we are picking up. I just missed this boat by inches.
Yeah.
But the next project, I'm stopping. I'm just silent partner.
Yeah.
The future is green here.
Yeah.
We are looking at green solutions for sure.
Yeah, because that's a big thing, I think, back home at the moment. I'm not sure what it's like in Belgium, but with like gas prices, electricity prices, they went up 70% in April. They're going up another 80% in October. Everything's going absolutely nuts. And so I suppose the prospect of maybe buying a flat in Phuket in the next 2 to 5 years, where there is an aspiration to just get renewable energy in, where you could have a decent lifestyle also, and where it has to be said, the people are way friendlier over here as well. That's a key thing. Like, so walking around with my kids, everyone just dotes on them all the time.
They love kids.
Yeah, it's like, I was thinking about this yesterday, like, if I was walking around London with my children,
you would be afraid.
Anyone...
No, you would be afraid if they come around your children. It's not even, you would not like it.
Yeah, but they wouldn't even.
Why?
They wouldn't even look at my kid. They would just be like, oh, annoying children, get out of my way, you know. Over here, everyone stops to talk to them. They look like...
The land of the smile.
They what, sorry?
The land of the smile.
Oh, yes, yeah.
It is. It's not a promotion thing. It is like that.
Yeah.
It really is like that.
So here's a weird question. This is a psychological question now. Do you think it's down to the weather? Like it's so sunny and nice and beautiful here that it makes everyone happier and friendlier? Or
Not agreed. Go to Vietnam. Go to the other countries. It's Thailand.
Yeah.
It's the culture in Thailand. Sorry, it's the culture of Thailand. Nothing to see with the weather, nothing to see because it's hard life also, especially in the old days with the cows and everything. No, it's the people. It's in there, and it's still in there.
Yeah. So okay, so let's peel the layers of that back a little bit. So what is it about the Thai people that makes them so friendly? Where does that come from, do you think?
Buddhism. For me, Buddhism is a lot to see with it. And I'm looking now at my wife, and she agrees. That's already something. I think it's the Buddha culture, and always be like that. Always, where it's coming from. This is a very difficult question to answer for me as a foreigner, but it's one of the reasons why you come back to Thailand. They really help you already in the old days when I'm coming here. Stupid things, flat tire with the bicycle in the mountains. Second car stopped already, put me on there, bring me to motorbike shop, don't want any tips. It's them.
Yeah.
It's them. So back to about what happened in my construction site or so the only thing, I don't know if it's the right thing to say, but whoever buy in another country, one thing, proper due diligence.
Proper diligence, yes. Yeah.
This is very important because like everywhere in the world you have people who take money and run away. So no matter where you buy, no matter with who you buy, do a proper due diligence. That is the biggest message I can give. And then
that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, so my girlfriend works in I mentioned in property. She doesn't do construction, she does investment. And she always says, you know, the capital growth, the trend for property investment is generally upwards. You know, you might have a crash, you might lose some money, but generally after a few years it will incline again. But one of the things we always talk about is that it's important to recognize that things can go really bad. So if you're investing, let's say, £500,000 in a flat in London or 500 grand in a property in Thailand that hasn't been built yet, you're buying it off plan, something could go wrong, an investor could pull out their money. COVID. You mentioned a few. So before we started recording, you were talking about some of the bumps in the road that you've had along the last couple of years. Perhaps could you...
Only in this project.
Yeah.
From day one to now, I had first of all the deflation. Is it the word?
Deflation?
From the ruble,
oh right, yes.
The crash of the ruble.
Yeah, the rate of the ruble to the dollar and the pound.
Minus 50%.
Yeah.
Means a condo became double as expensive as they want to buy, so they cancel all this.
Yeah.
But you're under construction, you have your commitment to your suppliers. We are strong. We survived it. We have a strong. My partner, myself.
Yeah.
We have a strong background. Otherwise, you're dead, and your investors are dead with you. Then we opened, the grand opening here was in November 2019. Big party, everything beautiful, fully booked, everything. 4 months later, we get COVID.
Yeah.
It could kill us easy if you are really like a gambler and you try to, you're dead. There's no way you survive. You look around and you see a lot of those things. So really, due diligence before you do. So now after COVID, what we get? We get Mr. Putin.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people all over the world. People don't fly so much anymore because of there's a war going on. Then we get the prices going ridiculous high from the planes. So there's a non-stop gambling. So you need to, if you buy something as an investment, for sure as an investment, be sure.
Yeah.
Don't gamble with your money.
Yeah.
Don't let other people gamble with your money. Proper due diligence is the most important thing about investments abroad, even in your own country.
Yeah, oh, for sure. But I mean, this is the challenge, isn't it? Is fundamentally, like here we are saying, don't gamble with your money, but fundamentally, it is always a bit of a gamble. You're always going to have to...
because there are things out of your control.
Yeah.
Like this COVID thing.
Like who could have predicted 5 years ago, that there would be a pandemic that would decimate tourism, flights, even like bus journeys.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah, because even in the UK property market, it's been really interesting to see. So London typically, as a property market, you probably know this already, incredibly overheated. I mentioned earlier, people can't get on the ladder. Properties in London are, I think the last count was something like 9 or 10 times the average salary. So it's insane. But what the pandemic did was it actually convinced a lot of homeowners in London that there was more to life than living in a tiny flat in the southeast of London with no garden, and they've got kids in the flat going crazy and they're having to work from home. So a lot of people started moving out, and so the London market actually started to dip. And then where we live, out like an hour and a half outside, all of those property prices started to go up. So it's really interesting to see the impact of
I saw exactly the same thing. I have a little place in France where we go once, twice a year. It's a little village, 300 people.
Yeah.
About 150k from Paris, really in the middle of nowhere, and half of the town was for sale.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to live there anymore.
No.
After COVID, we went back, everything was sold.
Yeah.
Nothing more for sale. 150 kilometers from Paris.
Yeah.
Same as in London, people want to have something with a garden.
Yeah.
If something like this happened again.
Yeah. Well, also, there's a lot of people who work from an office who now they're like, why do I have to come into an office every day when I can do this from home? I've got friends who worked in the City of London, big banks, East End of London, and they sold up their house in North London and bought out in Devon, which is about 2 hours out of London, way out in the country. And now they've got this big country house with a garden and 2 kids that go to a nice school. And I don't think that's an isolated case. I think a lot of people for the pandemic, it made them go.
There is no way back.
Yeah.
There's no more before COVID. There's only after COVID. People don't go back to the old days. No way.
No. And do you have a lot of that? Because there's a big thing about digital nomads, right?
We have them here.
Really? So people coming from the UK who work in tech, who then live out here, and they...
I can tell you a story about a couple lawyers from the US.
Right.
And they were already here working 6 months, and they didn't know that over there that they were here.
Yeah. Oh, right.
6 months.
Yeah.
Working 9 hours in a blank office.
Yeah.
And there in Silicon Valley, they didn't know there were not more there.
Yeah. Just like secretly working from home kind of thing. Yeah.
They left US and they were working here for 6 months, and nobody in the office knew there were no more there.
No. Yeah. And it's funny because working from a foreign location traditionally, like for me, I work in tech, and I think of that as a follow the sun model, a sort of, an offshore or a nearshore. I never really thought of it as something that could apply to me or people that work in my team. But now, just going back to the pandemic, that's something that it's sort of opened the door to us, where we think, I could work for a company in London and just work from a condo in Thailand, right?
More and more people are doing like this. We have a lot of them, not a lot, but we have already people like this here. And that's why internet is very, very, very important. We have to be very solid.
Yeah, yeah.
More and more. There's a new world.
Yeah. Okay. Last big question for you, and then I'm going to throw some quick fire questions at you. So, you're very passionate about Thailand and investing in Thailand and the people here, and that's a really beautiful thing to hear. If you couldn't invest in Thailand any longer, what other country would you look at?
Probably my own country.
Back in Belgium?
No. Correct me. Turkey.
Okay.
I'll go back to Turkey.
Yeah.
Turkey is going also. It's a world thing. It's not only London. It's not only Paris. It's a world thing. People are putting their money now in real estate.
Yeah.
There's no other solution in my eyes. I'm not a crypto guy, so for me there's only real estate.
I was going to say to you earlier, when you said about the ruble tanking, I wondered if maybe you had taken any orders for apartments in Bitcoin, and then
we have people who want to buy in Bitcoin. I say change your Bitcoins in Bath and you can buy here.
Yeah. No.
You want to gamble? I don't gamble. For me, it's gamble.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm the same. I mean, you're preaching to the converted here. So I played with Bitcoin must have been about 7 years ago now, and I made a lot of money very quickly. And then just when me and my girlfriend were about to go away on holiday, the ATM card that they gave me had its license pulled, like overnight with no notice. I had no way of getting the Bitcoin money out, and that was going to be like my holiday money. So I had to turn around to my girlfriend and say, I know I said I was going to take you away for a week, but I don't have any money. So yeah, not very happy with me. So yeah, my advice would be leave it alone. Okay, so some quick fire questions just to round off. What is your favourite song, Joe?
Favorite song?
Yeah.
This is a bloody difficult question. Do I have that?
What's his favourite song?
Not in general, not French music, old school French music, but not not really. Maintenant je le sais.
Okay.
Jean Rabais.
Not familiar, but I'll take that.
No, I know. He started when he was young. I think I know. When I got older, and then on the end, now I know.
Okay. One to add to my Spotify.
That's nice.
Okay. What's the last thing that you did that you really wish you didn't?
Buying food in 7-Eleven.
So for the benefit of listeners, so before we started recording, I said to Joe, it's nice to meet you. And he showed me his hand. He's had an injection because he had food poisoning he suspects from 7-Eleven. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. And then last question, just to wrap up. Actually, this is a two-pronged question. Who would play you in a movie about your life?
Who would play me?
Who would act as you if there was a movie about your life?
I don't understand the question, sorry.
So if somebody made a movie about your life,
who
would you cast as the actor to play you?
No idea. I'm not into movies. No idea at all.
So no movies, very little music?
I love to hear music, but I don't have a thing. I just buy tickets for Guns N' Roses in the 9th of November in Bangkok.
Oh, fair play.
I go to see Santana, so...
Yeah.
But not really a style.
Sure.
And not really an actor also, no.
Yeah. Okay, it's interesting. Okay, and then very last question, the second part of that one. Have you been told that you look like anyone?
Oh, yes. You want to see a like who?
Sure.
You probably can answer that yourself. Here. It's gonna be so difficult to find.
Just quickly Googling this, guys.
Sorry. Albums. Here. And then here. And then you can fill the name yourself.
I actually don't recognise him. Who's that?
Tom Selleck, and that's me.
Is that a young Tom Selleck?
That's me. That's it. Would they say more that it's not me? People say that. Eh?
Yeah. Your wife is unconvinced, but yeah.
But this, I look like who I don't know.
Yeah.
Like myself.
Yeah.
Like myself.
You are your own man.
I'm
Good.
2 feet on the earth, down on earth. No.
Okay. Cool. Well, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me, Joe Don't. It's a really fascinating chat. And yes, if anyone is curious about his development, by all means jump on, look for Diamond Resorts in Phuket. And I'll be back next week, probably with a solo show on Wednesday. We're out here for a month, so expect more interviews with fascinating people. Catch up with you soon. Ciao. Bye-bye.